to WCG 2019 Grand Finals happening at Xi'an. Live for you guys right now. We saved the best for last. It's going to be a packed action between the Americas and APAC. Both players coming out first place from the qualifiers.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Taoki from Chinese Taipei going up against Franco from Argentina. This is going to be a really exciting matchup. Both incredibly skilled players. I cannot wait for this one. This is the one I've really been looking forward to. I think When and Juicy J as well was the other one that really I was excited about, but this should be a darn good one as well.
Yeah, I think this is possibly the best one. I was really excited about all the matches, but especially for this matchup because these both players have unique characteristics for both, and also they're darn good at all the meta decks, basically. They play like more than 10 meta decks, basically, for all. And they're known as super good players from the region also. So they gotta be good, having a lot of professional plays and experience too. So let's see what they bring up. Well, so far, we got to see a lot of different decks. Goblin Cage coming out from here and there. Expo, I'll eat my word.
You know, it's been a lot of Lava Hound and RG, which is kind of what we expected going into this, looking at what the players had played historically and also what they favor, to play on their own accounts as well. And I think here, we already saw Lava Clone, and I think of the players that I expected to see Lava Clone from, Taoki is the one who plays it the most. He's the one that we talked about earlier that likes to play the Minion Horde variant of the clone. He'll also play the normal clone version that we just saw with the bats and maybe the barbs or guards instead in there as well. So he's the one that I expected to play that. Now we've already seen it. Will that influence his decision? That it's kind of, we've already seen the clone, but the clone is quite powerful right now.
Yes, for sure. If you can get all of the units together, and especially if your opponent does not really have the perfect spell to get rid of all the cloned units. We do have Taoki from Chinese Taipei, first from APAC. APAC, as I mentioned before, came out from the tiebreak and got first again. So Taoki certainly a strong players. And from that uniform, if you're used to it, you can tell which team he's from.
yeah. A former pro in Clash Royale League Asia a while ago, but trying to make a comeback here, trying to get himself back in the game, so to speak. And there is Franco. This guy from Argentina is really good. Likes the P.E.K.K.A. Rider decks, whether that be Ram Rider or Battle Ram. Another guy who plays RG, pretty much everyone these days. From time to time, he does play Hog Rider Earthquake. We haven't seen that a lot. It's kind of fallen out of favor because, again, the Inferno Tower, now that it's not as popular, the Earthquake and some other things that are hard counters to it aren't really as popular anymore. Now, Earthquake's still strong if they're using stuff like Furnace and that kind of thing, but it's kind of falling out of favor a little bit. Of course, he plays Lava Hound. Occasionally, we've seen him play Minor Balloon Goblin Cage, which is kind of interesting. So a variant of the Minor Balloon deck.
Yep, and Taoki, of course, having so many different decks, playing from the APAC region, coming out with 6-1. Giant Minor Prince, Lava Loon, you name it, you already said everything. And also really good with P.E.K.K.A. Same story for Franco, but a little more focused on the Battle Ram, I would say, and he hit up to 7377 on the trophy count on ladder. That's pretty high up there. Of course, mentioned before, 7-0 coming out of America, which was actually, I think, one of the strongest region out of all four. Other than China was, I think, was another tough region to come out as first, but 7-0, that's an amazing result. Only dropped 3 games.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, that's crazy good. These are all extremely good players. And even in the regional qualifiers, there were a lot of really darn good players. So to come out of your region like that with so much money on the line, so many players vying to make it to this tournament across the world, I mean, literally thousands competing to try to get here throughout the entire process of getting to this final stage. That just shows how amazing Franco is.
Yes, and also representing your country. This is a different feeling on stage, not just being in a team. You're alone by yourself. You're a big represent of your country and the region. When you come out on top, you come all the way to Xi'an, China, and you're representing a lot. You have a lot of pressure on your shoulder, and you just have to deal with that and then play your own game, focus on your device. All these 8 players, such great players coming from all regions. Let's see what these final 2 players has in their hands right now.
Yeah, it's what makes this whole event so exciting. Is it's not just the players competing for themselves, they're competing for their region.
Yes.
And it makes it really cool as a fan because you can pick a region to root for as well as a specific player. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe, you know, if you're in the Americas and your player from Mexico didn't make it or Canada, right? You still have players to root for here, a player from the US or a player from Argentina, and you want them to come through for your region to show that your region is the top in the world.
Yep, because Clash Royale, not just from like country to country, it's more like from a region to region. They have similar metas, but sort of in a different way, depending on the region, not just as a country. So I think that really matters a lot, exactly as how you pointed out. So we'll see some different decks coming out, but right now we're in a weird state where the meta is not really 100% settled with the new patch. I think we still have a lot of other matches to go through to actually see what the real gels are at the end of the month with the new patch.
Yeah, it usually takes a couple of big tournaments like this one before you really start to see some stabilization, because you'll see all kinds of crazy stuff happening on the grand challenges and on the ladders where people are trying out different things, trying to take advantage of maybe the older meta and that kind of thing before the new one really starts to stabilize. Because so far today, I would say like the bigger change is that we're seeing a little more clone and some other things that we used to not see as much of, especially I think like, and the Lava Hound has become extremely popular.
Yeah, I think we're at a state where too many things are possible. You can't really snipe a specific player. You can kind of, but we have a lot of meta cards, lots of meta decks, which are we're trying to get towards that golden balance in between. And I think we're about to hit that. We have so many viable cards, so many viable decks, and also decks that can be replaced with another card. Just instead of Hunter, Musketeer, or instead of Musketeer, like a Baby Dragon or even a Flying Machine sometimes. So even a Dark Goblin coming in from time to time, depending on the player's preference. So this is where we are at with so many cards coming into the game. It's just getting better and better every single time.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time for Clash Royale with the amount of options these players have available to them. It makes for the really interesting mind games where these players are trying to outthink each other. They're trying to change one little card in their deck to kind of counter what the other player wants to do and make it a lot more advantageous for them in the games.
And so many more spells nowadays. Snowball with that nerf, still a really strong spell to come out for. And I think we're ready for game number 1 between the two players, Taoki versus Franco.
And I think it's why we're seeing, to add on to your point, why we're seeing more Lava Hound is because of that Snowball nerf. Because it makes it a lot, you got to place it pretty perfectly to hit all the pups with it. So it's made it a little bit more challenging, but it was a necessary nerf. The radius on it was just so huge, you could hit so many units with it.
Yeah. And the fact you can make game-changing moves with just one spell to Elixir, like bringing the Miner to activate the King Tower, or even bringing the Goblins to activate the King Tower sometimes. So with all those potentials, I think it was a great move here.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we're going to get some version of the Battle Ram. It definitely feels like P.E.K.K.A. Battle Ram from Taoki, but you can do it with Mega Knight as well. Mega Minion coming down from Franco there. So about what we kind of expected. Both these players really do like this type of deck, but a Sparky here from Franco giving us a little bit of a curveball.
And an immediate response from Taoki on the other side with that Dark Prince getting dragged by that Goblin Giant. Now still the minions will connect only a few shots onto the bottom left, but the push is happening onto the right.
All right, let's see what the response will be here from Taoki. We're going to get a hit in from the Goblin Giant. 2 hits. The P.E.K.K.A. does come down in front of the Sparky. Now, only one shot will be dealt from the Sparky because the P.E.K.K.A. was placed right next to it with the good timing on the charge there. So only about a third of the P.E.K.K.A.'s health goes down from that.
But still, you're not too happy taking too many shots from the Goblin Giant.
Yes.
You really wanted to bring it down, maybe one shot. That's like the maximum you want to take. And even bringing Zap here, which was the perfect choice against the Sparky. But you had all your Sparky 101. Now I really know how Sparky player feels about Zap now.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And it does take a skilled player to time everything right. So there's that Goblin Cage variant of the Sparky Goblin Giant deck that we've been seeing become more popular than the Hunter these days.
Yes.
It fits the similar role, but it's just a little more convenient in a way because of that tremendous amount of attack speed and damage the Brawler has.
And Franco just leaked about 2.4 amount of elixirs to have one perfect setup. Wanted to time it for that Sparky now. Dark Prince going to charge into the dashing bandit. not going to win for now, but still, that's going to be a big setup coming up next.
Yeah, and Taoki trying to set up for a big push here where he can try to keep the advantage of that Sparky relegated, but that is a great lightning there to get rid of that E-Wiz, but not much damage being done.
Yeah, Sparky and the Bandit with that dash does not take any damage from the Sparky at all times with that dashing unit. But not really too much damage being done even after that big setup and the lightning together.
Yeah, so now Taoki going to split push onto the right-hand side, switching things up. Pretty common with the Battle Ram deck. That's what you want to do. You want to keep your opponent guessing. You want to keep them off guard, not able to commit all their resources to one side, especially against a Sparky.
Yeah, exactly. Because Sparky, you want to have a big setup on one lane, especially. There's that Dark Prince, expecting that Goblin Giant to actually be dragging that Bandit. But responded with exactly the same P.E.K.K.A being brought down to delete that Goblin Giant. Seems like Taoki's got his cycle ongoing against the Sparky now.
Okay, good, very good E-Wiz placement there. It gets the Sparky just in time. Gives that P.E.K.K.A enough time to get it swing in and clean up that Sparky.
And he's got to get the Sparky and the Battle Ram together. Franco not able to defend. Seems like we had something going on at the moment. Was not able to have a perfect response, or he might have just let his hands go off the device with that P.E.K.K.A coming to the left and the B-Ram on the left.
Yeah, I'm not exactly
cool
sure.
Elixirs, though.
Yeah, there might have been some kind of issue again there. We'll see exactly what happened. If we need to do a regame again or not, find out momentarily. But it was starting to kind of feel like maybe Taoki had a little bit of an advantage there. Yeah. The Battle Ram deck is a bit of a challenge for a Sparky deck because, like we were saying, when you're in the Sparky deck, you just want to stay in one lane as much as possible and just force your opponent to commit resources that the Sparky can clean up. But in this case, the Battle Ram, you're going to split sides.
Yeah, that was the perfect moment for Taoki to have. The P.E.K.K.A did not have like full HP. It was about like 40%, maybe 35% HP coming down to the right, and no further defense on before it gets to the tower, and then a Battle Ram onto the left. That's like the perfect chance you want to do. You at least do some damage into either tower. You can't really have a perfect. It's possible, but it's going to be really hard to have a perfect defense from that moment on. But I think at that moment, Franco wanted to maybe have a cage down in the middle, and then make something going, but not really having any card down on the board. Let's see what the decision is going to be from the refs.
Yeah, it becomes a weird situation there for Franco because what he really wants to have happen, ideally, is that the cage is what the P.E.K.K.A is fighting. Right?
Yes.
He wants that Goblin Cage to be dragging the P.E.K.K.A away. You know, you have your Sparky behind somewhere in there, and then your Sparky is allowed to wail on it because you don't want to use the Goblin Giant as much to tank for the Sparky.
Yes.
You're just losing a lot of value there. And it takes 3 shots to kill the P.E.K.K.A from the Sparky. That's a lot, and that takes a long time.
Yeah, and you still have to work with that Goblin Giant, which is still marching straight towards your own tower, so a lot of tough decisions. That's why the P.E.K.K.A actually came down before, after that initial attack where Goblin Giant actually got 2 steps into the tower. It seems like we need some time for the ref and judges to actually make a decision between the 2 players right now. And while that's being sorted out, as we get the update as soon as possible, we'll let you guys know at the same time. But that was a pretty big good P.E.K.K.A deck just coming around because Sparky, you really need to focus on one side to keep that push on going, right?
Yeah, and the cool thing about Goblin Cage, what you can do is you can place that Goblin Cage just shifted to the other side just a little bit because the P.E.K.K.A has a tremendous range that it gets attracted to targets. You can actually push it over there, and then the P.E.K.K.A goes into the middle. It's getting targeted by both Princess Towers, and then you're kind of changing that situation where they want to switch lanes.
Yeah, sort of like the Golem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't really have the highest HP onto the cage itself.
Right.
But you're getting the Brawler, which is extra damage coming out right after. Both Princess Tower locking down onto a single unit. That matters a lot. That matters a lot, especially bringing down those heavy ones like the Golem, the P.E.K.K.A. Even the Giant, of course, helps a lot in the middle. Let's see what's going to happen right now. Still no further updates from our production yet. Yeah,
we're still waiting on exactly to find out what happened there, if we're going to have to regame or what the situation is. We'll let you guys know as soon as we do. It's going back to the whole situation there, it's so fascinating. Like the goblin cage, is right now a lot of people are favoring it because like you were saying, it doesn't have a lot of health, so it comes down to timing, and that's what makes it a really tricky unit to use. And I think that's why the professional players especially are starting to favor it because they feel confident in their ability to time it correctly. And if you can, I'd say it is a little bit better than a hunter for most of the situations you want to use it for. But the hunter is kind of interesting because it does have that radius and it can take out other units as well, but it doesn't have as many hit points. And
you need some conditionals. Like you need to be the hunter needs to be right next to the target to the maximum amount of damage. If you're like 2 squares away, 2 pixels away from the hunter, the bullets are spread and then it doesn't do the full damage, and it's not really worth having that hunter at the moment. So I think Cage buying some time, making sure like the golem and the P.E.K.K.A. walk diagonally, buying some more time. Maybe it's really worth it. I have been trying it personally too, but it's really hard to time it exactly. When your elixir is just leaking, it's also good to just have that cage down. Yeah, it's a good cycle card for sure as well, because it does create some weird mismatches that you have to deal with. Because that brawler is basically like a slightly weaker, slightly less healthy mini P.E.K.K.A. Right? It does pretty decent damage. It has a decent amount of health, but not quite as much as a mini P.E.K.K.A. for example. So it's kind of like a slightly less version of that. It's like a less tankier Rascal Boy that does a little bit more damage, I would say. A little bit faster. It moves fast, too. Yeah, it moves fast, too. That's what makes it really challenging to deal with. Like those units like the Lumberjack and some others that move super fast. It creates timing issues where you have to be really on your feet with your ability to place your units to counter it. Which I think is making a lot of those like Hog Cycle decks to be a lot tougher. Yeah. Because they got to go through that cage first and then go into the tower. Like there are some situations where you can actually have another unit set up already onto the bridge so it doesn't get attracted by the ones like the Furnace in the center, like Tombstone, where it will like push them outside. So it goes straight into the tower, but that's rare of a situation, I think. That's going to be hard. Yeah, you're exactly right with what you said. It's made Hog Rider decks a lot harder to utilize because actually if you place the Goblin Cage correctly and time it correctly, the Hog Rider actually doesn't get any hits in if you do it right. And so that makes it a really weird situation because Earthquake is kind of worthless against the Goblin Cage. Yeah, okay, you might take the cage out, but then you still got the Brawler there, and you're not doing much damage to him with the Earthquake, if any at all, because you only get 3 ticks of damage from that Earthquake, and it's not significant amount, 183 total to the towers, but then, to the units, it's still not that much either. Yes. It doesn't even take a skeleton out in 1 tick. Yeah, that's what I noticed. Need 6 more damage to actually get that skeletons out. So even against the graveyard, there are lots of challenges happening all the time, and especially from the draft, from the clan wars, I would just take Earthquake from time to time. Of course, I'm not the one taking it. I'm given all the time with that Earthquake. Yeah. And guess what the opponent has? Lavas. Yeah. Then it's a real feels bad, man. A real feels bad. Oh, when you have that Earthquake and you're playing on draft and you see that Lavahan, you just pretty much just put your device over. I am not a big fan of draft. Are you? I love draft. Really? I love draft. Draft is my favorite mode. Really? Every time draft comes up, like the special tournaments or whatever, those are the ones that I'm really excited about. Oh, really? I love draft. I love the rage mode that we don't really have too much anytime. Oh. And also the sudden death, which we do have for the clan wars right now. Sudden death, you're just done with it. Either you win or quick, but it's either you win or lose, but it's quick. That's true. It is fast. It's super quick. And you get 1 chance, you push, you win, okay. That's all you need. But I had one game where both towers went down at the same time, and then it just went on to the second one. Even on sudden death, I'm like, what just happened? Oh my gosh, you had the tie. That's so rare. And then I of course I thought I won or lost anyhow because of sudden death. And then I would toss my device to the side, and it keeps on going. I'm like, what? You hear the noise coming out, and you're like, wait, what? Why are there more units being placed? It's super rare, but it does happen from time to time. Like, even in Clash Royale League Asia, we had one moment on that 2v2, that 2v2, right? That was crazy. That was crazy. Both teams thought they won. And then, we gotta get back. Not done. It's really weird how that can happen. But
I really like draft. I mean, it's nice because I'm the only one who likes it really in my clan, so everybody like leaves it for me on the clan wars, and it's like,
yeah, you got to
all
cycle through that.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It's okay. I'm fine with that.
Ooh.
I like draft because I get to see a lot of maybe cards that I'm not necessarily used to.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
I'm also
true.
like seeing a lot of interesting interactions and trying to find ways around like unique problems that you get faced with.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's another way to get better at the game every single time. Trying some new cards, new combinations. Of course, not the favorite deck you would want, but draft mode is certainly fun. And with that music queuing, I think we're sorting out and getting ready to jump into the game once again between the two players. Let's see the score and if it's going to be a rematch or not.
Okay, I don't see a number by either player, so I think we're rematching this one.
Yes, we had no building tower destroyed. No Princess Tower destroyed, so it seems like a rematch.
Nice. Guards this time from Taoki. So, not exactly sure what he's going to be building behind that. A lot of different decks can fit the guards in there. Both players have baby dragons coming out here. So nothing revealed yet really what either player is kind of intending to do.
Yeah, guards, certainly a great card against potential Sparky.
Yes,
potential
very
Sparky
good against Sparky.
Coming down again from Franco. If it happens, we will see guards just go in all the time. And for replacement, we've seen like Barbarians, oftentimes Lumberjack also. It's Miner this time.
All right, a Lumberjack here from Franco. Very good placement there. Of course, Tornado is available. So you want to place that miner on that top right corner of the Princess Tower, on the outer corner away from the King Tower, because it can be tornadoed in from just about any other position with a good tornado.
And the E-Dragon. Smell the Golem coming down from Franco. Along with that potential tornado. And guards just to take some shots from the Princess Tower, and the Baby Dragon comes down directly. Guards will get actually a few swipes in.
And it looks like it'll be the Lava Miner deck, of course, here from Taoki. So let's see how these two decks fare against each other. Of course, like we talked about earlier with the Golem, a lot of times you're just waiting until double Elixir. The Miner there on the bottom, so the Tornado has to come out here to keep those guards off because a lot of damage being tanked here by the Lava Hound.
Yeah, before those pups, you really want to grab all those pups together into that Tornado. Taoki basically forced this Tornado out before that breakout of the lava. A great play coming out from those players right now. A little bit, 1,000 more damage down to the bottom right. Baby Dragon connecting just 2 shots away. We have a nod from Taoki just saying, okay, I expected that Golem to come out with this set of cards here.
Yep, the Goblin Cage being placed early here. It will go down, I believe, before the Golem actually even really kind of crosses the river. But you still get the Brawler out of it, so it's just really a cycle more than anything. And of course, now you can get to the Inferno Dragon, which has locked onto the Golem here, so that Golem does get melted and split into the 2 Golemites, and they're going down pretty quick too.
Oh yeah, and in the meantime, small amount of damage done by the pup and the poison there. And even with that Miner being perfectly defended by the guards, and a Lumberjack would come, but Franco is really looking for that great perfect setup with that Golem pushing in with the E-Dragon.
Yeah, Taoki tried to like trick Franco a little bit there with his Miner placement because Taoki knew that the Tornado was out of cycle most likely for Franco because he had to use it on the offensive side there. So he was able to place it on the bottom, but Franco predicted it nicely with those guards.
And a beautiful poison hitting all the targets here, and Miner on the back getting chopped by the Lumberjack, so that's going to be a good response. But still this push is happening from Taoki.
Yeah, we've got the Electro Dragon coming through, trying to distract these pups. So far, they are not getting through to the tower. Really good defense here by Franco. Down quite a bit, a little over 1,500 points of health on those Princess Towers. So he's going to have to play some really solid defense going forward. Try to find a timing, but this time he's not ready for that Miner.
Yes, it's hard. If you want to have the setup, you got to take a few hits from the Miner, and the Goblin Brawler also comes all the way down with that Rage E-Drag. We'll take the full damage from that poison, even the tower, and with that final Miner connecting the damage, that's going to be a win for Taoki, having a cheap cycle with that Miner. Yeah, Franco never really got a good chance of connecting that Golem straight into the Princess Tower on top.
Yeah, it was really good timing there by Taoki. First, using the Goblin Cage to kind of distract the Golem a little bit, and then he waits, gets in cycle with his Inferno Dragon. There isn't much of an answer available because at that time there was no E-Dragon there to get that stun to reset the Inferno Dragon's beam, and he couldn't ever get through. And then from there on out, Taoki just kept the pressure on.
Yeah, pressure on, and pressure on with the units, starting from the top, of course, from his own defense. Plus, on top of that, when Taoki's lava went all the way at the bottom, had the poison hitting on all the targets that was flying in the air at the same time. So Franco was losing on top and the bottom, and taking hit into the tower every single cycle. So did he really have to put down a golem in the middle, and try to have a change in cycle? I think that could have been an option, but he was really stuck in the middle right there.
Yeah, it's really difficult. You're put in a situation where what you might end up having to do, and you really, really don't want to do this, is put the Golem in front of your Princess Tower when the Lava Hound is about to split into pups and that kind of thing, so the pups focus in onto it. They don't really do a tremendous amount of damage to it. You can usually have a few other units, but the E-Drag is definitely your best option there because you could put it right in front of the Princess Tower. It soaks up quite a bit of that damage, and also it's stunning and damaging 3 pups at once, assuming you place it correctly, and that buys you a ton of time. We saw him switch to that later, but early on it seemed like he was a little unsure of exactly how to deal with that constant barrage of Miner with the lava, with the Lava Hound coming in, and then the Miner and the other units and stuff following underneath it.
Yeah, just constant pressure from Taoki just made no available chance for Franco to actually have all the Lumberjack, all the E-Drag. Lumberjack, E-Drag is just enough to have with the Golem. Those 3 combo going across the bridge seems like almost too perfect. So Taoki just stopped that with that poison, at least deleting, damaging the Lumberjack or deleting that E-Dragon in the air with that poison all the time. So the combo perfectly could not fit into pieces all the time. Franco, with that Golem, it's going to be real tough if he tries that again.
Yeah, it's a really, it's a hard deck, and especially if it's not something you're great with. So I don't know.
Oh, yes. And we'll see. But these two players certainly having the potentials to come up on top. I think just switching out Golem was a little bit too heavy last time, but any more games, you can see what he's trying to do, checking what happened last time. Let's see what his deck is going to be.
Yeah, I think for Franco, he was trying to kind of throw a bit of a curveball here at Taoki, because when you scout Franco, you don't really see any Golem being played. So I think that was a little bit of a curveball attempt. We're going to get into the next game here. Let's see if Franco can turn it around, what exactly he will change up, if he's going to fall into something maybe we've seen him use more recently or not. And we've got the Dark Prince down and some skeletons from Taoki.
Yes. Pekka's would be the option if he wants to go back to his comfort zone. Still Dark Prince with that Musketeer all the way on the back. Want to snipe onto that Barbarian and also the Baby Dragon in the middle.
Yep, once again, the Musketeer will clean up that Baby Dragon. There was the Barb Barrel cycled there as well to distract the Baby Dragon. Keep that Musketeer pretty healthy. There is a Mega Minion available to tank up some shots here, though, from that Musketeer.
Yeah, in the range of that Princess Tower, so only 1 shot from that Musketeer.
Snowball here might let a bat get a hit in. 2 bat hits. There you go. Yeah. Nice little timing there by Franco because he was full elixir anyway. Might as well get a little extra damage out of that.
Yeah, bats, if you get lucky, you get 1 shot with just naked bats. But with that Snowball getting a few more hits, Flying Machine here to add a few more. There's that Royal Hogs. They felt it with the Flying Machine going straight into the tower, but the Skeletons are actually doing some work.
Yeah, not a significant amount of damage done from those Royal Hogs, a little bit, but a pretty acceptable amount here by Franco. Franco just mistimed his Barb Barrel there. You can see him shaking his head a little bit. He wanted to get that Barb Barrel out sooner. Elixir was not the issue there, and it'll be the Golem this time from Taoki with the Prince behind it.
Yeah, the timing from those barrels can be tough if you do it too early. Like the Baby Dragon's going to have an area damage onto your tower, but a charge onto the top right, and even the bats, if they connect, this will be a heck of a lot of damage.
Taoki is fine with this. He's trying to build up a big push. Most likely these last 2 cards are something like Tornado and maybe a Lightning or some other spell as well. We'll see exactly what Taoki wants to run behind this.
As Golem finally reaching the tower, has 1, and the death damage into the bottom left. And with the amount of bats and the Barbarian as defense tool, it's not the greatest attack, but I think overall, Franco got more damage onto the top right.
Yeah, just barely, and now he's going to split push here. Dark Prince and a Musketeer on the left, Royal Hogs on the right. No answer for the Royal Hogs. Taoki just going to set up for a big push and try to take this down in this next 30 seconds he has.
A lot of units together, even Baby Dragons. So Golden trying to go through those Barbarians is going to tap that death damage, connecting into the tower. And even the Musketeer right next to it. The Prince, can he actually do the damage? But Dark Prince just in time gets the shield out.
Wow, excellent timing on that Dark Prince by Franco, soaking up that charge from the Prince. Now he's going to make a push of his own. There isn't much defense left here for Taoki. You can see there isn't anything he seems to have left, and there might even be a second Princess towered down. It's so close. Just not in time.
Just not in time, and 116 left, but he still already had one Princess tower down onto the right top. Well, this one was a big rush. I mean, the faster rush for sure from those Royal Hogs happening onto the right. And the key card here, Barbarians. Barbarians just stopping those golems. Taoki had a really good setup with that golem. He had a Prince coming behind it, the Baby Dragon on top, even the Mega Minion on that second wave. But against those Barbarians, when the golem's going straight through it, like it takes out about 80% of HP in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it again, most likely, typically in that Golem Prince deck, the last card is a Lightning, usually. And this is what I'm talking about. Because Barbs have become so prevalent and there aren't as many good targets for the Lightning, I think it's time to start considering Fireball or something else, even Poison or something. But Fireball's, of course, the best answer because it completely cleans up those Barbarians. And I think we didn't even see the Lightning... It's most likely a Lightning come out here from Taoki there because he had no good targets to use it on. Barbarians is awful to use Lightning on. It's just awful.
It's even if you can get some great stacks with that Tornado, with maybe connecting it to that Golem death damage and the Baby Dragon together, it's going to be really tough. If he had the Fireball, certainly he was going to use it already. Instead of putting that Baby Dragon, just put that Fireball down and get all the Barbarians deleted. Your Golem is safe on your approach into that directly into the Princess Tower. I think that was going to happen regardless if he had the Fireball, 100%. Yep. Well, spell choice, really, really important, of course. Yeah, having that Lightning was the key before because of the Inferno Tower. Look how many times we had Inferno Tower today.
Zero Inferno Towers today. So a big shift in the meta here, at least in our little tournament we've got going on here at WCG. Xi'an 2019. So this is going to be interesting. So we're going to go into the final game of this match. It's all tied up. What do you think? What do you think, Chiclef?
I think Franco's got this. I mean, his Golem did not work out for sure, but as long as he moves out to a quicker cycle, even his Royal Log's pretty good with that Flying Machine. And not just that, he's still got his final key card. That's a Golden. P.E.K.K.A, any kind of variant with the Ram Rider, B-Ram, he can certainly make that work. He makes the opponent look like a fool with that deck. Of course, with this high level, it might not be the same, of course, in this tournament. I think Franco has somewhat of an advantage if he goes back to the P.E.K.K.A. I've seen, of course, we've all seen this player play with that P.E.K.K.A deck, and it's pretty scary. It's pretty scary when the P.E.K.K.A crosses the bridge and then the B-Ram onto the side with extra units to follow behind. You can't really deal with it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's a really challenging deck to deal with, the Battle Ram P.E.K.K.A deck or the Ram Rider P.E.K.K.A deck. Both are really challenging because of their ability to split push, the scariness of the P.E.K.K.A. I think if I'm Taoki, I'm going for the clone. I'm going for the Lava Clone. Going for the Lava Clone, one of the versions of it. I think that would be a really interesting curveball here a little bit. Even though it is kind of an expected deck from him, it is a deck we have seen him play and he likes to play. But if they're running P.E.K.K.A Battle Ram, I feel like it matches up pretty well against that.
Yeah, not a bad matchup, actually. Yeah, depending on like the placement and the cards and the set of cycles that you have, we'll have to see what they go back into the game of the last game. But with these set of skills, I don't think we're going to have a regame here. They're so good. They can find holes left or right, and they will just straight on go into that Princess Tower and break that tower down. And I think we're getting ready for that final game of the day between the two players. Game 3. All right, tied up. The winner from the game is the winner from the match.
Could be our final game of the day if there is no rematch. Taoki going with the Battle Ram himself this time, and there's a fireball from Franco. Well played there, gets the minions and prevents the Battle Ram from getting through or doing any damage there.
Totally worth it. Of course, we can get more, but I think that's just enough, getting the minions and the Battle Ram out of the way. And even the E-Dragon.
Oh, E-Dragon here and a tombstone from Franco.
It can still be another variant of Golem here.
Yep. Could also be Lava Hound. Maybe even Graveyard. There's a few weird Graveyard decks that do this kind of thing. So we'll see. This is, oh, Ice Wizard here from Franco. So,
Yep, we might just be having some more skeletons coming out all of a sudden. Taoki feeling that. A big push coming down onto the same push.
Yep. Fireball available once again. He has the Mega Minion available to help clean this up. I think that other Barbarian's going to get one swing in. Yes, he does. Not a significant amount of damage there.
And it seems like the Ice Wizard is doing so much work on top right. About 200 damage done. Exactly. Actually, 300 damage done all the way.
Yeah, it's weird. A full health Ice Wizard. Yeah, it's about 300 damage if you let it go. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that much, but because it slows up the Princess Tower's attack speed, it does end up doing a bit of damage, about an RG shot's worth.
Yeah, drags it all the way and gets the area damage into the Ice Wizard. The charging damage into the Tombstone at the same time. So it has to use an extra Barbarian Barrel from Franco.
All right, Tornado here to back everything up there. The E-Dragon will keep everything, and this is a Royal Giant. So this is a little bit of a variant on the Ice Wizard Tornado Royal Giant with this E-Dragon here.
But Pekka ready to go. Only one shot onto the top left tower. E-Dragon still surviving, but got that Electro Wizard to clean that up.
Ooh, Tombstone just in time to prevent the Bandit Dash there, and will drag everything over onto that left-hand side where there are E-Dragons happily awaiting to zap and stun everything in its way.
Taoki, you must be ready with another Pekka. He's getting it in his hand, but there is that Tornado dragging it all the way. RG getting the second shot in, and more from the E-Dragon.
Yeah, this E-Dragon allows some extra shots to come in from the RG. Now you can use the Ice Wizard to slow all this up. Buy some time to place this Tombstone if you want, or the E-Dragon in this case. Try to protect this, but he's a little late and behind on that Tombstone. Just wasn't able to get it through in front of that Ice Wizard, but it's enough. Will drag that Battle Ram away and the Dark Prince.
And a good defense. Had to use that extra Tornado, which was kind of unfortunate, but having that Fireball, certainly it's going to be a big help for Franco all the time.
Yeah, that time he's even able to get the Fireball damage. Now trying to punish this is Taoki on the right-hand side. Immediately forced to place a Tombstone and use that, but the bottom left, oh, just in time, I think. No, that Dark Prince did connect to the Princess Tower.
Yes, a lot of damage being done, even the Bandits still having hits onto the bottom right, so destroying that Fireball did hurt Franco a lot with that cost. That was a big sacrifice to be made.
Yeah, great job by Taoki to pounce onto that. This time it's an E-Dragon and a Tornado used to slow up this Battle Ram push with the minions. And this time the Ice Wizard will survive because the Dark Prince does get distracted by that Barb Barrel.
So very low on HP. Decides to go towards that right, of course, with that E-Dragon. Pekka is going to be coming down, but with those mini stuns, it's going to be slowed just a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's still only 2 shots that the Royal Giant got there, maybe 3, but I think just 2.
Yeah, just 2 shots.
Yeah, so it's not... It definitely isn't horrible because you do a lot of damage to the Pekka with the Mega Minion while the Pekka is all slowed up. Oh, the dash
connects,
though.
And the mini stun is certainly helping, but it's not exactly stopping everything.
Uh-oh, so Battle Ram. That connected. The Fireball is there, though, to clean it up.
Yeah, Taoki knowing that it was going to come down anytime soon has that instant response with the Bandit and the Battle Ram onto the right this time. Stops the charge with that Lightning.
Oh, the Barbarians are out, but just in time with the Barbarian Barrel to keep them from getting much damage done to that Princess Tower.
This game's toe-to-toe. I mean, the bottom left is 700, but one big push from either player can literally finish the game anytime soon. The Dark Prince has to be answered with RG.
Yeah, it's about a minute left in overtime here. Now you've got the Pekka as well here for Taoki. So this is looking really nice for Taoki here. That RG didn't get any shots off, and now he's able to split push on the right with the battle ram.
Yep, and a great drag with that tombstone all the way to the left. Now the bandit has to be dealt onto the right side, but Dash does go into the tower, and one more hit down to 559.
All right, trying to punish now is Franco with that Royal Giant on the left-hand side. There is the Ice Wiz there, which distracts the P.E.K.K.A. a little bit, so that's going to be some extra shots for the RG.
Yeah, one more shot because the P.E.K.K.A. connected into that Ice Wizard first. Down to 341. I mean, they do have spells ready to go.
Oh boy, only 10 seconds left. I don't know if either player has enough time to finish this one off. We might have to do a regame here, G-Clef, trying to get the Battle Ram and the minions down. Only 3 seconds,
Fireball.
and I think that Fireball will keep it from happening.
Ooh, that was some intense amount of action. That short amount of time between the two. From left to right, top to bottom, happening all over the place. Some dangerous moments in between. These players try to outwin the psychological war against the opponent so many times. That was a great game, and the fact that we're having a V-game again, I'm so happy.
Oh, this is great. I mean, these two players played so well in that game. I mean, it was back and forth. They were changing lanes. They were doing a great job adjusting to each other's tactics. I mean, it's really interesting because maybe another 20 seconds into that game and maybe Franco can get those fireballs. He needs 2 more there because there's 341 left on that top left Princess Tower. That's not enough for 1 fireball. You need more. You need 2 to take that down. Maybe he can buy himself enough time, but Taoki was keeping the pressure on so well with those Battle Ram minion pushes that were forcing those fireballs out.
Oh yes, even a tornado when fireball was not available with the Ice Wizard trying to delay it as much as possible. Yeah, Franco was actually trying to have that tornado for that E-Dragon. You drag the units so it chains into the tower, at least 1 more shot. And that chips damage, of course. That's the reason why you bring tornado along with that E-Drag all the time. Of course, Ice Wiz, you have a lot more reasons for it. But it actually chips in a whole lot of damage if you have only few units, and connecting the chain lightning into that tower is the key to actually win the game in some of the matchups. And he did that just, I think, once. One play he did come out with that, maybe just 1 damage, just using that tornado. But after that moment, Franco was busy defending with that tornado, making sure the Battle Ram doesn't connect.
Yeah, it became a little bit desperate because Taoki was just relentless with his pressure, only using the P.E.K.K.A. when the Royal Giant came down, which is pretty much what you want to do. You don't want to be using that P.E.K.K.A. much otherwise, because it even just left to its own devices, a P.E.K.K.A. versus a Royal Giant. Usually it's only 2 shots from the Royal Giant, which isn't the end of the world. You throw an E-Wiz in there or something as well, and all of a sudden, you know, the Royal Giant gets like 1, maybe 2 if the Royal Giant
if you get it down
plays.
to 1 shot from the Royal Giant, that's great. And you still have your full health P.E.K.K.A. basically going across the bridge right after you, so you have a big setup. And with that amount of time against the RG, that's why you're trying to have that push. Or onto the other side with exactly what Taoki had, Battle Ram and minions all the time. And drawing out all the spells from Franco. That was a great matchup between the two. Certainly showed their skills for the amount of time they had. A regame for the final game. Maybe we'll have regame again.
Could be. You never know. They got to play until someone's got less Princess Towers than the other. That's how this works in our format.
Yes.
So we'll see. Franco, I think, is doing some really interesting stuff, bringing 3 decks that, quite frankly, I hadn't scouted on him. He's bringing some stuff that we've never really seen from him that much. The Golem E-Drag, the Royal Hogs, the Barbs. Those are decks that he really doesn't tend to play much, at least in recent viewing history. And when we can look at, his main Clash Royale account, of course, he probably has other hidden accounts that he actually practices his main strategies on, which, of course, you would want to do that. You'd want to give your opponents as little information as possible into what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Opponents basically know all of your comfort deck that you played in the qualifiers, of course, and from your main account, because all of these players can basically look up the account and what they play the most, what they like to play, if they like heavy or cycle, some controls in the middle. So moving that away from that and bringing it in, have a secret practice on new decks, especially with that cage or some clones, I think that's a brilliant strategy. Using it for the group stage, certainly a big power spike. Going into that knockout stage, because opponent has to study a lot more about you.
Yeah, personally, I wanted to see it before. I want to see it again. I want to see Taoki go into the clone. I want to see Lava clone from him. And I don't know what to expect from Franco now. Franco is showing us some really interesting stuff here today, and it's been hit or miss for him, but we'll see what he's got here. I don't know. I want to see clone. That's what I want.
Yeah, just to switch from like the Battle Ram to the Ram Rider, or the switch from the P.E.K.K.A. or into Mega Knight can also be a big change, which can work perfectly depending on the opponent's card. Might be the final game between the two. Let's go. And Tombstone it is again to start off.
Are we going to see the same thing here from Franco? Does he feel like he could have pulled this off? The slight change, or will it be... It'll be the Rascals.
Rascals. The boy and the girls just marching in against Taoki here. Mega Minion marching its way down all the way.
This one starts to... Whoa! And the Magic Archer, we don't see this unit too often these days.
It's been popping up from time to time, just a little more than what we had before. And it's the Royal Hogs marching its way all the way into the tower, left and right. The guards on the right, Prince on the left, trying to defend. But you can't just have a perfect defense against these Hogs.
Yeah, it is really difficult, and that Archer does get a few extra shots in there, as it does connect to the Princess Tower just by the thinnest of margins.
Yes. Magic Archer. Placement is so important. Your own placement and your opponent's placement at the same time. Makes it really hard for Taoki to actually place all of his units, even the guards, because those arrows will shoot through the guards, remove a shield, and get all those skeletons out of the way. This one's going to be a tough match for both players. Let's see the placement. Already a Magic Archer coming down from Franco, marching its way. And the Baby Dragon will take so many shots from the Magic Archer. Has to put down the Rascal Boy in front.
Yeah, Lightning, though, cleans up a lot of this. Immediately, the Royal Hogs coming down, try to take advantage of that Elixir deficit, but some really good defense by Taoki with that Snowball and those guards to really prevent much damage at all from those Royal Hogs.
Yeah, just one single scratch from one Hog. So that's a near perfect defense coming down. Sometimes against the Bandit. Oh, he even gets a dash off that.
Wowzers. So the Bandit gets the dash in there. So far advantage Franco, but now we are in double Elixir, and Taoki does have that Golem behind the Prince as well. So we'll see if he can make this work.
This push a little strong with the amount of units that's climbing. The Hogs are starting to do a lot of damage. That's a tower down already. Can Taoki have a return in favor for him?
Yeah, he's got a lot of units pushing up, and a very healthy Prince as well behind this Golem. There is a Tombstone. Good fireball there. Catches all of the units that Taoki had crossing that bridge, but will it be enough? Snowball backing all of that off. Does push that Rascal Boy into the Prince. Now the Prince is onto that E-Wizard, and he eliminates him as well.
Yeah, all the Golemites are down, and the backup units are gone. Seems like Franco has the grab in this game, the final game, and he will take the match when Taoki not as strong at the very end. The final push with the Golem did not work. Royal Hogs with that push. A great win for Franco.
Yeah, Taoki went back to the Golem Prince deck, the deck that he won with in game number 2, trying to see if he could repeat the magic that he found there, but Franco with another really unique and interesting deck. He's bringing a lot of different strategies. He's not giving his opponents good reads on what he wants to do in this tournament. He is bringing some really unique stuff, that Royal Hogs, Magic Archer, Tombstone kind of thing. You don't see that very much.
Yeah, even having a fireball just in case, if your Royal Hogs are always stuck against the Barbarians or something of those big troops coming down against you, because your Hogs will be delayed and also be taking damage even more against those big troop units. So that was a really cool adjustment. I mean, Franco can make all the decks work with the setup cards that he has in combination. Really cool adjustments at the end, coming in with the Rascals too, which is really uncommon, coming down. The Magic Archer does come in from time to time, but not with this specific combination, for sure.
Exactly. This was a really unique combination, and really made it difficult for Taoki to kind of get anything done. He was forced to try to make one big push work there, but the cycle is just fast enough. Good fireball there at the end by Franco to hit all of the units. Good Tombstone to drag the Golem away and buy some more time. The E-Wizard in there as well, so he's able to buy himself a lot of time on top of being able to make some decent pushes from time to time.
Yeah, what an incredible first day with the group stage. I mean, this is only the start. We got so many more matches happening on day number 2, so it's going to be a lot more exciting. We're starting to reveal some unpackaging the new patch meta, what's happening, some new cards popping up from time to time, but we're still yet to know what all these other decks they haven't prepared here.
Yeah, I mean, it was really exciting to get to see Franco come in here, and a little bit unfortunate for him that he did have a technical issue in the first game, so a little bit of one of his strategies got kind of revealed there. But after that, we got to see some really fascinating, different kind of strategies from him, and it ends up paying off here, and we'll see exactly what our standings are eventually. I don't know if we'll get to see him or not before we close out the broadcast
Hopefully
today.
we
but
get to see him.
We can go look at. You can go look them at on them at the website WCG.com. You can check those out and find out exactly what the standings will be after day 1. And this was a really, really good day. Some really high-level Clash Royale action here.
Yeah, it's the best from all the region. I mean, they're the best. They went through so many games of tournaments and qualifiers to come all the way here. I mean, they've got to be good. We're seeing them. And I told you we're going to have at least... I think we're going to have at least 1 or 2 regames happening today. Yes. We had at least one at the end, which was the best, I think.
I think you jinxed it, man.
We also had the Sparky versus Expo. That was
True,
really cool.
True. That was what we really wanted. That was the one thing we were like, okay, let's do that.
Okay,
That's
you
good.
win all the time. That's what I got. What I got from the match. But yeah, we're seeing like which cards actually really work in the meta, which cards really not really working. But Expo, if you really find some holes against those lava decks, like it's your day basically. If they're all flying in the air, Expo just connects into the Princess Tower. There's nothing that opponent can do, actually.
Well, that's why it was brought, right? That's why the Expo was used.
Yes.
Because it is actually quite strong against the Lava Hound decks, which are super popular. Like we saw them today. We saw many Lava Hound decks. They're still very powerful. They've been powerful. Now they're pretty darn powerful, especially with that Snowball nerf. So, yeah, you want to try to guess your opponent what they're going to do, and that's a lot of the mind games in competitive Clash Royale. You're trying to guess what your opponent is going to do, trying to sniff out their tendencies and take advantage of that.
Yeah, exactly. The meta is flowing, certainly, with that new patch. Yep, didn't really tell you guys. Fisherman is actually allowed, so that can actually come out, but right now I think it's a little fishy to actually come out right in the middle to drag. Sometimes you can drag stuff that you want, but it works the other way from time to time. It works the other way from time to time where you actually don't want to drag the unit.
Yeah.
But you end up dragging like the Hog Rider closer to the tower and it connects one more shot.
It gets weird sometimes because it's automated. You can't control what it grabs onto. It's hilarious to watch the Fisherman mirror decks where it just is dragging like the Golem or the Royal Giant. And it's just like, haha, you can't get close enough. But that's in competitive play. I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy to play around that because either like a Mega Minion on one of them. That's because they have to do it up by the river, and so you throw a Mega Minion or something like that up there, and then all of a sudden one of them's dead, and then you've got that weird problem you have with the Fisherman where he's pulling stuff into places or getting pulled to places you don't want him to go, and it's a very tricky card to use.
Yeah, unless new cards usually, unless it's like super OP, it just takes some time to adjust into the meta, especially as we have more just cards coming out. And more combinations possible for any kind of deck. I think that's where we are heading towards. Maybe after some changes when buffs to Fisherman. Maybe we'll get to see it tomorrow. Who knows? There could be some players' secret cards just back in their pocket somewhere.
Yeah, somebody could absolutely be working on something behind the scenes. I mean, who knows? We might even see something like E-Barbs. Wizards? Yeah, Wizards. We haven't seen Wizards much. Bombers. We don't see much of that these days. There is an E-Barbs deck that's floating around on the Grand Challenges that from time to time does okay. So maybe somebody will try it. I don't know. Probably not. It's just... Anyway.
Yeah, compared to before, like half a year ago, 2 years ago, I think this is the meta where we see the most amount of cards. Of course, we have more cards, but actually being like played in pro play.
Yeah.
And not just as like a troll deck or a ladder deck. They're actually being played by the... like we just saw Magic Archer, which we really didn't think that we were going to see today.
Yeah.
And so these kind of cards that we don't really see too many times, I think that can be the winning points, like secondary options of winning, like the Dark Goblin sometimes gets some scratch damage into the tower, 4 shots every time, naked Dark Goblin into the tower, because it's like a Goblin, it's like a Barbarian Barrel, you just have to put something against it, like the Bandit, forcing your opponent to use some kind of cards, and
Yeah,
those cards can be effective.
Yeah, really, we see, even in 1v1, and especially if you throw 2v2 in the mix, I mean, really, you see just about every card played for the most part. That's what makes Clash Royale so exciting is of the 80-plus cards that you have available, almost all of them are viable, and you can use them in your decks, whether you're playing on the ladder, the Grand Challenge, or anything like that. There's so many different strategies available in this game, and you can kind of customize things and play to your strengths and weaknesses, and that's what makes it such a beautiful game.
Oh yes, I'm about to break all these things by mentioning the healing spell.
You see people try it from time to time in 2v2.
Yeah, there's actually a deck with Three Musketeer with the heal. It doesn't really work all the time. Even with Minion Horde, there's a Minion Horde heal spell deck going around, but it's not really being played too many times. But it's available. If you can make that work, certainly go ahead. But not really the best one for now. That's on the ladder or the meta.
Yeah, you have to really read what your opponent wants to do. Like, if they have Zap or Snowball, and they only have one of those, like they only have one Snowball and like a Barb Barrel or something, right? Then you can actually make that Minion Horde heal thing kind of work, because they're going to use that Snowball if they have it available on your Minion Horde, and then you can heal it, and actually all of a sudden that Minion Horde isn't dying, and then it gets real scary because that Minion Horde will wreck a tower in no time.
Oh yes, they will. They will wreck a tower and go to that King Tower too. So that's another option, and another really cool, like really trendy new deck that's been going around, like a Goblin Barrel Cycle with the Goblin Cage. With the minions or Minion Horde if you want to. And with the Princess, it's like 2.8, 2.9-ish? So
yeah, I think it was 2.9.
Really, really quick.
Yeah.
And didn't really get too many chances to actually play that, but I will get to tonight. That's exactly what I'm going to try.
Yeah, we didn't get to see any like log bait, spell bait kind of decks today. They're gaining popularity on the meta across the board, but the players today didn't seem to favor that. It seems to be more of a beatdown meta right now with these players. And obviously part of that is because the Inferno Tower nerf, but honestly, even before the Inferno Tower nerf, this is what these players were doing. Yeah,
just because we have some extra time, let's talk about spells for today. We were talking a little down on Lightning, even though it, of course, fits. It's a well-built, well-made deck that has Lightning, but we're starting to see some movements of the Fireball. We've just seen Franco bringing some Fireballs and making it really, really work against the BRAM and all the units together.
Yes.
I think will be a transition. I'm really feeling it too. Yeah, I think we're moving into a lot more Fireball. Fireball Zap is also a great combo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think with the cards that we're really starting to see a lot of in the meta, the Fireball makes a little more sense. It's great against Musketeer, great against E-Wiz, great against Battle Ram, great against Minions, great against Barbs. If you do it right against a Tombstone, like if you can time it against a Tombstone or something like that, it's really useful there to break it apart before your unit gets dragged to it if you have a Royal Giant or a Lava Hound or something. So there's a lot of versatility in Fireball. It knocks back Inferno Dragons, like you mentioned earlier.
Oh, yes.
It's a good card. Yeah. I think people should use it.
Kills a lot of those units, like the almost kills a lot of those 5 elixir units, like the Wizard too. If you're really thinking about the ladder or the draft too, it survives with just this much HP.
Yeah,
and Fireballs. But I want to throw you the real question though: Snowball or Zap?
It's so hard.
Back your head.
No, I think they've balanced Snowball really well now, where it makes it a really difficult decision. Yeah, throw Sparky out of my brain. All right, I'm throwing Sparky out of my brain. It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
It depends on what you think your opponent's going to bring. I think right now I might lean more towards Zap just a little bit because of the prevalence of Sparky and Lava Hound, and because you get a little bit more radius from Zap than you do Snowball now. So, are they the same now?
It's about the same.
I think it's just a little bit bigger on Zap, right?
I still miss with both. Yes, that's the point, though.
But they do the same damage, so it's kind of weird. It's like, all right, Snowball knocks stuff back, Zap stuns everything. It kind of ends up balancing out now with the radius change to Snowball. So, I guess, okay, maybe Snowball's a little better because it still does slow units.
Even if you have Electro Wizard in your deck.
Yeah.
You still put Zap in it? We do see a lot of those decks coming out.
Yeah, we actually, I mean, especially with, like, the P.E.K.K.A. Battle Rams and those kind of things, you do still see Zap instead of Snowball. And that's because you want to, stop stuff because you want to let that Battle Ram pass through.
Oh, yes. Making this new spell with same elixir cost, that's one of the hardest decision in the game, I think, to
Yeah.
actually go in. Like, at the last second before you actually go into a professional match, you might just switch out one spell from a Zap to Snowball, depending on your opponent or
Yeah.
how you feel like it. That could be the game changer. The spells have been just such a crucial card. Lightning can be perfect, but as you saw, no Inferno Tower at all today. And
Yeah.
it might actually not be out at all throughout the tournament because of that big nerf onto the time. And it's still great against the big units like the P.E.K.K.A. and the RG, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's definitely a little surprising that we didn't see it in a way because everybody was playing Beatdown for the most part, other
Yeah.
than the Royal Hogs. So I kind of feel like it's still quite viable. I don't think it's that the nerf is not that significant in my opinion. I think a lot of people over exaggerated it. So
Yeah, it seems like we are closing down day number 1. That's it for the group stage. For day number 2, we have day number 2 with more group stage, and also day number 3 with the knockout stage, all the way through that finals in day number 3. So a lot more Clash Royale is going to happen, and we're going to have that opening ceremony for WCG coming up real soon. That's what I'm hearing right now. And then after, it seems like we're doing Honor and Kings. That's going to be coming up right after on this channel. So stay tuned for more mobile esports. It's all over the world. It's happening right here. It's beautiful. That's it for day number 1 for Clash Royale, though. Well, we're supposed to.
we're still here. We can't leave yet. We're stuck until the highlights come. We're stuck.
Okay.
You're stuck with us. You're not. We're not stuck with them. They're stuck with us. G-Cloud.
Oh, I think it's time for highlights, though. I hear the music. Is it time? Favorite Thin, you got any words?
Bye bye.